Hello everyone, it's Puppet Strings, and whether this video is super boring or not, it means a lot because of the once in a YouTube lifetime. So let's start. So we're going to do this video in a few parts because of the interesting polls that was on my social media and, all kinds of confusing shit for stuff. One of those things. So the first part of this video is my story. Yep, I'm going to get that shit out of the way. My life was never an easy one, as well as my mother's. I had some very abusive family members, and my childhood was really nothing but being broke and moving constantly. I moved all over the country, never really settling down in one place. My family has lived out of cars, hotels, and sometimes absolutely nothing at all. When I met my ex-fiancé, I thought everything would change, and it actually got worse. He was very physically and mentally abusive. He snapped and almost choked me to the point of passing out, and even proposed to my mother with her own rings. He started a YouTube channel for the Japanese card game Yu-Gi-Oh! He even ignored me, his soon-to-be wife, for pieces of paper. His channel is still up, and he started it over 2 years ago, and it barely has 100 subscribers, after he told me I wouldn't amount to shit. Making fun of me and my puppets and my family. Basically, there's something also that my family found out about this guy after he left. He's actually dead now. Part 2. The journey. My journey on YouTube didn't start easily. At the time I started my channel, at that time my family barely ate, and when I say my family, I only had my mother all my life. We both lived off of cigarettes and soda. We hardly ate because we couldn't afford it. I spent nearly 3 years establishing my contacts for information, and I got lucky to be able to speak with some of the highest authorities in the world for information on these creatures that had been passed on as fake beings from the internet. And then I started my channel, playing around with a few things just to see what people were interested in and finding out what they wanted. The very truth of this so-called reality. Part 3. Behind the scenes of the Snuffcast. Now, getting away from all the bad shit, on March 4th I got a mention from Twitter. As I never thought that Twitter was going anywhere for me, I didn't set my notifications for Twitter, and 2 days later, for some weird reason, I needed to check Twitter, and I didn't understand why I had this nagging need to, but when I did, I think I shit myself, honestly. There was a mention from Snuff Bomb asking me if I was interested in being a guest on the podcast. I called my mother up 5 seconds after that I read it and was shaking so bad I could hardly even talk. These guys were two that I looked up to on YouTube, and all of a sudden, I was contacted directly. I was so honored beyond belief, and the podcast was so incredibly fun, but there was a couple things in there that I'd like to tell my puppets as a part of behind the scenes. One, I told them that I was from a small shitty town in South Carolina. That's true, in a way. I'm actually from New Orleans, Louisiana, and so is my mother. But I figured since I moved all my childhood, I have spent a lot of time in South Carolina, it would save some rambling to just say that and spare them some boredom. So Snuff and Fire Puppet, if you're watching this, I hope I spared you that much. Another thing is I was pretty nervous, I won't lie. That's why in the podcast I tried my best not to be too crazy, but if I was ever invited to another one, all bets are off, and they know me by now, goddammit. We had a lot of funny stuff happen before it was recorded and whatnot, and a few technical difficulties, but we came out of it laughing about fleshy books and still tag each other in weird social media posts. Part 4. Skeptics. I'll start this part off by saying this. I have suffered through a lot, be it personal problems or problems on people believing me. When I started gathering police officers as much as my sole contacts, I wondered what kind of reaction I would get if I showed evidence to the people of this world. The reaction was quite mixed, I'd say. Everything from beautiful fan art to death threats. I've heard it all. I respect people's opinion, but there is a line. Once you go so far as threatening someone's life, you are breaking the law. Though there is a difference in a skeptic and a non-believer, that doesn't mean they should push it into other people's faces. So I want all you puppets to know, if your friends, family, and or partner doesn't believe you, just remember, that is their opinion, and if they are your true loved ones, they will be willing to accept you just the way you are. As I say that, there is another thing I haven't actually commented on as far as believers go, and I wanted to touch bases with it because it really scares me and I don't want anybody being harmed. If someone believes to be a believer of the creepypastas or moon shadows, you do not have to harm yourself or others. I really highly recommend professional help. No one wants to see you hurt, not me and not your family. Part 5. Thank you. I can remember when I got 20 subscribers. I was so happy that I at least had 20 people that cared enough. Then when I got 200, I was even more happy to see that as well. And it all seemed that all this bad shit had been in the works of something great. And now I look down and I have 10,000. Well, to some that isn't much, but those who think that must not care for their following that much. I may not be able to respond to every message, email, and comment, but I smile every time I get one, because all of you are like my family, and it'll never get old to see all of you joke and voice yourself down below in that section. I want to say thank you for letting me tell all of you the truth that I have suffered to get, and give me a chance and even defend me to harsh skeptics, because I do the same exact thing for all of you awesome people as well. I am hoping that no matter what, you puppets will take comfort by clicking on my logo and watching one of my videos. After all, a circus has to stay together. You have been such a great audience, and sleep tight, my puppets.